Wow. Wow.
He's looking for somebody.
Were you at the Bar Harbor Bicycle Shop?
Uh-huh.
Oh, my son saw you. He was doing lobsters in there last night, and he works there too. So
Yeah,
he's not in there now.
we're getting ready for a big ride tomorrow, so we were practicing today.
On the number 4 again.
Okay.
Old people biking.
Okay.
So it's
all yours.
Oh, yeah.
Enjoy your meal.
Awesome.
Oh, I know. I guess we don't have a very
Tasty boiled bugs.
and it's all for $5.
Every moment has led us to this day. Every journey that brought us to this place. We're filled with wonder that words couldn't ever contain. This is what we've been waiting for. At the dawn of forevermore, we can stand on this ground so sure. This is what we've been waiting for.
I'm here outside of Down East Lobster Pound, one of the greatest places in Bar Harbor to get fresh Maine lobster. This is the place to go if you just want to eat lobster. The facilities aren't fancy, but the prices can't be beat. In Maine, the real secret, if you want fresh Maine lobster at a reasonable price, find yourself a pound. A Lobster Pound is a place that kind of wholesales lobster. You might go into a restaurant here in Bar Harbor and pay $30, $35 for a lobster. Here, it's about $7 a pound during this season. So the prices are extremely reasonable. We just bought 30 pounds of lobster to take back to the RV, shuck it, freeze it. So we've got lobster for at least the next 4 or 5 months.
Give our dreams to the rising sun.
My name's Mike Smolich. I'm the manager at the Down East Lobster Pound in Trenton, Maine. Okay, the easiest way to do this, all right, is just pick them up, take the claws off, take the tail out. Then what you do here is just take this and pull the tail backwards.
Okay?
Okay? Stick your finger in there and push it.
We were screwing. We were trying to break the.
From that fast.
Then just peel that tail all
there
the way
you
back
go.
down to the end. Okay? And make sure you get that last little piece out of it. Okay? So you can save this. And then what I do is I just start it with my thumb up here. And then it gets going. You're done there. The claws, obviously get the bands off of them. And then if you look at them, they articulate.
Right.
Okay? And they articulate this way. And then this way.
So,
So what you want to do is just pull it in the opposite direction that it normally goes.
Okay.
So go backwards. Okay. If you do it just right, the meat's going to be right there. Take this, you flip it over, go opposite the direction that it usually does. You do that right, the meat will sit right there. There's not much meat, but there's a little bit there. Then take it this way, go backwards, and then come over here and just push your pinky through it. And then that whole piece of meat comes out.
Awesome.
So you're done there. Pull this backwards. You want to look for this.
Okay.
Okay. If you don't
Kind
see
of like the skeleton
well,
for
it's,
the.
it's cartilage.
Yeah.
And it's going to be in here if it's not here.
Okay.
So when you get to that, you want to make sure you look for it. Okay. Then. Same way with this, we go backwards, backwards,
I don't think you've ever done this before, have you?
Just once. So you break off the ends.
That's it, yeah, that's
Okay.
it.
And then you, usually a rolling pin works good.
Oh, it just pushes it out.
You get all the meat out of the little legs like that.
Ah!
If you have a rolling pin, it works much nicer. But most of the time, when you want to eat this, you just chew on them.
Well, you know what? That'd be good for like soups or bisques or any of that kind of stuff.
Like bug spray or
No, I haven't.
any type of people squeeze.
Yeah.
It kind
Oh.
of feels like that. Yeah, just
That's soft.
Go away. Go away.
So what did you...
see these two. They look like legs.
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's a male lobster. See how this one just has? They look like just tiny
They're
little
very
flippers.
tiny, yeah.
So if you have them right here side by side, it's pretty easy to see the difference.
This is what we've been waiting for. At the dawn of forevermore, we can stand on this ground so sure. This is what we knew we would.
What we were told was pound was a derivative of pond, and originally all these places had these ponds, and so it was lobster ponds, but then it gravitated to pounds because that's how you sold the lobster. Is there any truth to that?
What do you call the place when they come and they find your dog running
Oh,
around?
a dog pound. There you go.
Yeah, what do they call the place when you
Take
leave
your
your car in the wrong parking
Impound.
space?
Oh, you're
Yeah,
right.
A pound is just a place where you store things.
Okay.
Make our way, we have just begun.
We got 30 pounds of lobster, which was just about a pound of lobster. So we ended up with 30 tails and obviously 60 claws. So what I'm doing is packaging these in 2 tails and 4 claws per bag. So we've got pre-made meals. You just gotta make sure that you flatten out the tail when you put it in the bag so that all this sits as flat as possible in the freezer and doesn't take up more space than you need, because everybody knows in an RV space is a premium. Put all those little puppies in there, squish the air out, close it up, and voila, you have another lobster bag.
This is what we've been waiting.
All right, so since we had all those wonderful lobsters, we're going to make lobster stew. And so we saved the legs because that was the easiest part of the shell to make lobster stew with, so you get the good broth and everything. So you need a certain amount of liquid that the lobsters have been cooked in. Sometimes that's inside their shell. So if you boil your own fresh lobsters, save that liquid as you're peeling them and cracking them open for your lobster stew. First, put the butter in the Instant-Pot. This is an Instant-Pot recipe, by the way. And we're going to melt the butter and then brown the shells. Let's see, we want... Okay.
6.
So our butter has melted. We added three chopped cloves of garlic, a couple of onions chopped finely, and then we're going to add the legs and cook them in the butter, stirring them up till they turn a darker red for about 5 to 6 minutes, and that'll intensify the lobster flavor in the soup. There we go. So I'm going to cover this up, let the Instant Pot do its magic for about 5 minutes. Okay, so we're releasing the steam once it got up to the time frame. There's 2 ways you can use your Instant Pot. One where you let it come down the steam naturally, and one where you let the steam off. We don't want it to keep cooking right away. We just want the flavor in there, and then we're going to add the water, and then we're going to boil it again. Okay, so now we've got our butter and onion and garlic and lobster legs in there. They're brown. Now we're going to add the broth and let it boil for about another 5-6 minutes. All right, so we've let our water boil with our lobster legs, and now we're going to take out the legs so we can add the rest of our vegetables. We learned a new trick from Mike at Down East Lobster Pound that gets even those last little bits of meat out of the legs. So you can take a rolling pin, or we happen to have this nice handy Corona bottle here. It'll act as a rolling pin, and you tear off the end, so you've got an open end, you leave the other end closed, and then you're going to roll it like you're rolling pie dough.
There goes right then.
There's our meat coming right out the end, just like that. So, remember, we had 30 lobsters, so I only did about the amount that you would have from maybe 2 lobsters, 3 lobsters. So you got a reasonable return for your effort. Then we're going to add that meat in to our soup pot. And I also saved the rest of the legs from the claws meat. And we're going to chop that a little smaller and add that as well. And then we've got our carrots and celery and our potatoes. So we're going to add all these things into our pot and get our Instant Pot, if it's not up to when I add this, to the level that our maximum line is, by adding a little more water, and then we're going to turn it on and let it cook and do its magic one more time. Okay, last step. We just finished. We just released it so that it released faster. We don't want it to cook extra. So now we're going to take some of it and put it in the blender and puree it. So my 2 favorite appliances, my Vitamix, my Instant Pot. Gonna add it back in. Nice salad and crusty bread, and you're good to go.
We're filled with wonder that words couldn't ever contain.
We're closing out the lobster season at Mr. C's Lobster Pound in Lewiston, Maine.
We've been cooking it all day, so it gets all the flavors of everything the entire day.
Another excellent feast for about 20 bucks. Pound of lobster, pound of clams, and a big ear of corn. It doesn't get any better than that. Yeah. Although we did get a chance to try their lobster roll. It was incredible. Yeah, basically it's like eating a whole lobster without the work. So, I hope you've enjoyed our episode on the lobster industry in Maine. If you love lobster, you need to come to Maine in late July, early August. Bottom line is, best place for lobster? Maine. Although the people in New Hampshire would argue with them. All right, this is Russ and Val Hicks with Where RV. Hope you've enjoyed this episode. We'll see you down the road.